For me, there are a couple of things that I think make you quick over distance. It's rider comfort and reducing fatigue. So it's not necessarily having the fastest wheels or the flashiest and aeroest frame. I think this new bike is going to enable me to get from A to B as fast as possible. So I want to introduce you to my new bike. The Canyon Neuron is running front suspension and rear, so it's my first full suspension bike. Now, the fastest bike over terrain for 6 hours, or even a 1 hour XC race, is not necessarily the fastest bike over terrain for 24 hours to 7 days. When it's midnight and you've been riding for 5 days, you're not going to be fully alert and you're not going to be able to pick the best line. But having more travel and rear suspension is going to allow you to cover that distance better. It's going to accept you being a less smooth rider, making mistakes, and cover that up for you. I love descending more than anything, and so being able to take this bike and ride some of the most crazy places and tear down is going to be super fun. So this bike is off the shelf, but then I've changed some of the components to it to be what I'm looking for. This bike is running 130mm travel of suspension on the front and the back. So it's a really good all mountain or trail bike. It's not a full downhill or anywhere near that kind of bike. It's not really an XC bike either, but it allows you to take sort of your XC riding into the mountains and descend really well. It's got that slacker head tube, so it's a 67.5 degree head tube on it, which just relaxes it off a bit, makes it a bit easier to ride downhill. And as I find straight moving from the Exceed to this, where the Exceed is 69.5, losing those 2 degrees just makes it a lot easier to sort of pick up the front end, float it around through corners and things. It's got loads of clearance, so I'm running 2.4 Wilderness Trail Bike Rangers. Obviously they're on DT Swiss wheels. I'm using always DT Swiss wheels. These are the XMC, so the all mountain 1200s, and they're carbon, ride really, really nice. Now, obviously running the XTR group set, same XTR group set that I'm running on all bikes. It's the 1x12. I really like the single setup on the mountain bike. It's just a lot simpler. And with this, I got a 30T chainring up front, and then it comes with a 1051 at the back. I find the 30 more than enough at the front, and if I'm doing 30-10 and I'm spinning out, then I'm just going to coast at that point, recover some energy, and push on on the next climb. Very much for like the long distance setup for that. I don't need sort of top speed, I just need sort of all day speed. This one is running the trail brakes, so it's got the 4 pistons in each on the front and the back. Just finds it gives it a bit more stopping power. On the Exceed, I'm running the 2 pistons, and that's fine on there. This is quite nice for the long downhills that I do. As you'll see with this bike, actually I've got a backpack on at the moment. So this is from Roujan, and I think from having experience riding the Highland Trail and some of these other mountain bike kind of races, is that riding with a backpack and the weight in the backpack, keeping it off the bike, makes it a lot lighter to move the bike, a lot easier to move that around, a lot easier to descend and climb if you've got to pick it up. So there are some advantages to running the backpack in this setup. I might still get the frame bag for this, but just run less than that and still run the backpack. I found when I was running the Exceed with all the weight on the bike, made the bike very difficult to handle, sort of sluggish on the front because it was hard to pick up the front wheel to, you know, boost through dips and things. So yeah, you get a bit sweaty, but I think it makes it a lot easier to ride some terrain. For me, the setup is very much about just covering distance quickly. It's not about being the fastest downhill. I'm never going to be that. It's not about doing the biggest jumps. That's not going to be me at all. I'm not, you know, a super skilled mountain biker. What I like to do is just to cover distance quickly. I'm very much about that, and I think this bike is going to allow me to cover some real big distances through some of the toughest terrains as fast as possible. You know, I'm really lucky and really honoured to have such a great partner in Canyon. They're always supporting me in the crazy and wicked things that I want to do, and so I'm really excited to ride this bike and get out there and push some limits on it, and hopefully break some records in time as I get more acquainted with it. Cheers.